The title of our story for today is The Silent Stalkers, Three Men in Disguise. I've been holding on to this story for years now, and would like to finally get it off my chest. So my sibling and I lived close to an elementary school where we would often go to walk our dog in the playing field and crop of woods, or we would let our dog roam around while we played on the playground or made pretend in the woods. I think I was around 14 when this happened, about 10 years ago. This schoolyard had a playing field, a playground near the building, and a playground farther away from the building in a crop of trees. We were swinging on the swing set at this more distant playground, but from this play area, you can clearly see residential streets and the parking lot of the school, which kind of all wrap around the crop of forest. As we are swinging, I see an SUV drive up one of the roads and pull into the parking lot. It's a weekend, so there's no other cars around, and not very many people. Maybe the odd passerby also walking their dog through the school grounds. The SUV is about 40 meters, 130 feet, from where we are, and I wear glasses, so I can't see very well what the people look like as they exit the car. But I can see some distinct clothing pieces. There are 3 people. 2 look older and are dressed as if they are older middle-aged, like in their 50s. I remember one of these people was wearing a wide-brimmed women's sun hat. The third person looks like an older teen or young adult in his 20s, and is wearing a green and white striped jersey and cleats. It is not uncommon for people to walk or drive to the school to use its field for play or sport practice. Though looking back now, I realize it is odd they parked in this lot, and not on the side of the road nearer to the field, which is on the opposite side of the property. In any case, I think, okay, just some grandparents and their grandson going to practice in the field, and go about playing with my sibling. I remember watching the trio walk away around the school building, completely opposite to where we were on the property. We have our dog with us, and after a time we decide to stop swinging and take the dog on a walk through the trails in the forest brush. Maybe 15. 20 minutes have passed since the car pulled up. The brush we are walking in is basically in the very corner of the school property. There's a metal chain-link fence in front of us, and beyond it is the sidewalk and residential road. To our right is another fence which separates people's backyards from the school grounds. My sibling and I were just at that age where playing pretend didn't really feel genuine and spur of the moment, like we were about to grow out of it. I'm feeling bored but don't want to go home yet. So I pick a branch of these red berries that grow in the schoolyard and say to my sibling, "Hey, want to play a game?" Which was our code for let's play pretend. And I bend down to offer the berries to my dog as a starting point for the game. They've never hurt her. I'm still speaking to my sibling, who is walking in front of me as I bend down, but my voice trails off as I see my dog's behavior. She is completely ignoring the berries and me, and is instead moving past me slowly, ears back and nose pointed, as if she's approaching something. I follow her movements, still looking down. When I finally look up, there are the 3 people from the SUV, not 2 meters, 6 feet, in front of me. They are certainly not a couple of grandparents and a kid, but 3 grown men. I remember the faces of the 2 older men pretending to be grandparents. The foremost man had short white hair and a white scruff of facial hair. His mouth was open in a faint O shape as he breathed quietly and focused on keeping his steps light. The other man was extremely thin, his cheekbones popping out and shoulder-length, greasy brown hair hung around his skeletal features. They had crept up behind my sibling, and I silently, and remained just as quiet as they all turned their backs quickly, and pretend to point off into the trees like they were bird-watching or something. It was bizarre how silent the whole encounter was. I immediately realized we need to get the fuck out of there, and turn my attention back to my sibling as I grab my dog's collar and get her hooked up to the leash. My sibling is about a foot from me, but seems oblivious still to the 3 creeps in the woods right behind us. I tell them over and over that we need to leave, but they've become wrapped up in the imaginary game I proposed moments ago. Finally, they see the men. I never looked back at the creeps, only to my sibling. My sibling also stops talking and starts walking with me. Thankfully, an opening in the fence between these now haunted woods and the road is only a few meters ahead, and we get some distance and obstacles between us and these creeps. To my frustration, my sibling wants to stop on the sidewalk and pick some more berries through the fence, and I frantically tell them to come on, let's go. I still never look back towards the men, my vision tunneling to the safety of the open roads and sidewalks and homes in front of us. We get home without incident, at least to my knowledge. Had the men followed us on foot, gone back to their car and followed, or simply gave up. I didn't care. I just wanted to get home, which was only a couple blocks away. When we got home, I broke down. I told my mom what happened, and I remember her reaction being kind of nonchalant. I had always been an anxious child, and she had developed a habit of downplaying things in a kind of exposure therapy way. I realized I still didn't feel fully safe with this reaction, and retreated to my basement to cry alone. In recounting the story with my mom years later, she said she did call the police, but nothing came of it. I am also very thankful for my dog, as it is likely she saved the lives of myself and my sibling that day. In the years since then, I became highly skilled in reading people's body language. I can tell when someone is lying. I can read people's emotions and intentions like a book. I can tell if someone's vibe is off from a good distance away. This has become a blessing and a curse. So 3 fucking creeps from the woods. I hope no one else was subjected to your presence, and I hope you rot in hell for what you did. Let's never meet again.